Good morning and welcome to Everyday Money Matters on Lagos Talks 913. It's the best place to be for your personal finance discussion and stories that bother around the money market. My name is Adu. Welcome to today's edition. Well, on today's show, of course, as always, is brought to you by our friends from Naira, and I have with me the money man himself, the finest man actually, none other than Olumide Adeshina is joining us live this morning. Hello, Olumide. Good morning. How are you?
Hello, Adu. Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Same to you. Same to you. I do hope that you are keeping safe from this new third wave.
Yeah, and I hope you're not buying the dollar right now.
No, I'm not because I see that we're gaining basis points in the parallel
Exactly.
market.
Yeah.
So is that good news or bad news? I'm not too sure now.
I think it's very exciting. Just tells you that the banks and the regulators are getting this worked out, at least in the near term.
Mm. All right, incredible. Well, just in case you're joining us, like I said, Everyday Money Matters is brought to you in partnership with our friends at Naira, and this is your number one personal finance show where we talk about money and money-related issues. Of course, if you want a little bit more personalized, intricate, shall I say, conversation, you'd probably have to sit down with your financial advisor, but we try to answer questions here to the best capacity possible. And if you want to send a question to us, please go ahead and send it to our WhatsApp line 0809 234 5913. That's 0809 234 5913. All right, Olumide, let's start today from the stock market. Now, recently there's been some huge fluctuations in the dollar market, I beg your pardon, in the oil market. And I want to ask, what is your view on the oil and gas stocks, considering what's happening with the oil prices? Is this a good time to buy? For instance, Total, oil company, released their results, and this individual says they want to buy into it. So using that as a yardstick, is it a good time to buy oil and gas stocks in general?
Good question. First of all, I think it's not just local stocks. If you look at ExxonMobil and Chevron, they did outstanding well, even BB. And that just tells you the fact that the volatility in oil prices and the fact that oil prices rebounded strongly in Q1 and Q2 really triggered such performance. Also, if you look at some firms like ExxonMobil, they're already diversifying to the chemical division. ExxonMobil made about 2.6 billion in their last quarter. That was one of the best quarter they've ever had, in that category. That tells you the fact that also oil companies are also diversifying. But this comes to price action now. If you look at price action, most of these stocks are trading near their 52-week high or record high. So it tells you that you're buying at a premium. But you see, there are different ways you look at things. Warren Buffett will always tell you that when you want to buy, always look at value. So for me, I try to look at the opportunity cost. What's the likelihood that stock maintain that momentum? So the fact that we're having COVID-19 coming on board and the rising dollar tells you that we might have pullbacks. So I usually advise investors to be a bit more about price value. So, but it works for people that feel that once you're in the bull run, the bulls keep running, and sometimes it works like that. But you should also look at drawdown. So if you are buying at this season, you are likely to suffer drawdowns when things don't go your way. But if things keep on the momentum, sure. So it's an individual choice, and the horizon. For me, I think energy stocks in Nigeria, the Nigerian stock market is relatively cheap. If you look at the price to book ratio, and you also look at their earning capacity, they show good earnings. Zebra, for example, to did outstanding results. And if you compare, if you convert the dollar naira value on those stocks, you see that those stocks are pretty cheap. So those are things you need to factor, before you make that decision. So the decision still boils down to the investor.
Okay, thank you for that. Speaking of investor, is it a good time to buy stocks? This person is asking. In the health sector, you mentioned COVID-19 and third wave, and of course, pharmaceuticals rush into finding more lasting, stronger, solutions and remedies to this. Is this a good time to buy stocks in the health sector as well?
The health sector stocks too are not pretty, the past couple of years, not been doing so bad. In fact, they've been outstanding performance, especially the medium capitalized stocks. I don't want to mention names, but if you look at their yearly returns, it has been 5 times higher than the inflation rate that we have on the average level. But right now the stock market hasn't gotten to the bullish momentum yet, because if you look at year to date, it's still negative. I think it's around minus 400 basis points. That tells you that we've not been able to meet the track record we had when stocks got as high as index brought in 50% in 2020. So this is why I say look for stocks that are looking pretty cheap. So how do you look at stocks that are pretty cheap? Look at present time is trading, look at their earnings results, look at how they've been able to capture the market. But I think all stocks too are not really bad to buy. But this is the catch we are having. Last year their performance was really triggered by the fact that they got a lot of funds from the CBN. The CBN had to support this sector because it was critical to the being of the economy. So people, some market experts say that they don't expect them to rally as high as they did because of the fact that they don't have such liquid cash. But I think some of them are showing strong momentum right now.
Okay, speaking of momentum, just another rider question. You talked about the bullish run we had in 2020. Is there a possibility that there would be another one in the exchange like it was last year?
I do. The truth is that I wish I can give a definite answer, but you see, the thing about the market is that we are not magicians, So, but if you look at historicals and you look at data, yeah, Q3 and Q4 is when Nigerian stocks usually perform very well. And if you look at earnings coming in now, I'm waiting to see the 5 big banks, the earnings are going to troop in matter of days now. So it depends on how investors start seeing these stocks, and also the fact that our foreign investors, though they didn't play a major role in last year's run, but we need them this year, because if you look at the fundamentals are changing right now. So it's pretty hard to say that might play out. But see, Nigerian stocks are known for, there are some stocks that always give you returns. And the problem we have is that they don't stay consistent over the years. They have pullbacks. Price, when they get to a price or a price floor, they touch and come down. So buying at the right time becomes very important. But I think, Nigerian stocks are still one of the stocks to beat in Africa. If you look at so many metrics, Nigerian stocks are not really doing that bad.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts there with us. There are other questions that are tilting towards, the Bitcoin. I think I'll just reserve that for last. Let's go into a little bit more practical questions now. This person is asking, please, can you share when or where I can invest 1 million Naira right now?
Wow. I think a few days ago, Nairametrics did an article around that, and I think it's a very trendy article. But just because of time, I'll basically tell you that a lot of experts did justice to that, venture capital, entrepreneur, investment bankers, and their narrative is just that, first of all, the options are wide. You either look at commodities, you look at hedging your currency, you look at starting a business, you look at stocks, mutual funds, and so it depends on the options were wide. So I'll tell you that just to avoid wasting your time, you could just click on the Nairametrics portal and search for that. You see it's fresh, it's loaded. I think about 1,200 words. When you read it, trust me, it's powerful. Something that really helps me to. So I think that's the best way to put it, because the options are wide. I can just give you points, but you need to read it. So basically, you can invest in agriculture, the agriculture sector, the value chain. You can look at stocks. They mentioned the kind of stocks that would be interesting. They also spoke about commodities. Like I said earlier, they spoke about commodities, what kind of commodities you should look at. Also talked about safe haven assets like gold, the US dollar, and stuff like that. And finally, they also talked about currency. So it all depends on the individual, like I said, and the holding capacity. So 1 million naira is just about $2,000. So I advise you guys to just click on that portal. You gain a lot.
All right. Speaking of gaining, Nairametrics has an economic roundtable coming up. Should I say on Saturday? Yeah, and 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. West African time. It's a roundtable of experts on how to get out of the economic crisis. The theme. You have Ugodre will be there, who's the CEO, of course, of Nairametrics and also the money man on our show. You have Andrew Nevin, partner and chief economics at PwC. You have Chinwe Egwim, who's also a Coronation Merchant Bank chief economist. Yewande Sadiku, the executive secretary of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. Bismarck Rawane from our friends in East Africa, and Dr. Yemi Kale, beg your pardon, National Bureau of Statistics, amongst many other voices will be there. So just like Olumide was talking about, you taking advantage of articles and platforms and portals, I think this is one you might want to consider. It's Saturday and you will need to register. So just head over to Nairametrics website. You get the registration link there, or you can use the bit.ly link. So Nairametrics /economic roundtable. So bit.ly link is Nairametrics economic roundtable. That will help you get there. And just like the article Olumide was talking about, this also would broaden your horizon when it comes to money matters. When we come back from this, we'll continue this conversation. Do not touch the dial.
Did you know that your Standard Chartered Visa credit card gives you instant access to cash? With your credit card, you have access to funds whenever you need it. So whether you're hanging out with friends, need to send money to your loved ones, need to take care of some personal and domestic necessities, simply transfer funds from your credit card to your savings or current account, or pay bills directly from your credit card, all on your SC mobile app. For more information, please send an email to creditcards.ng@sc.com or call our call center on 01-270-4611 or toll free on 0800-123-5000. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. Can't think of a reason why you should apply for a Standard Chartered Visa credit card? 1, a 50-day interest-free period? That's unbeatable. We've checked. 2, get up to 5 free supplementary cards for your family members. Plus, you earn redeemable reward points every time you use your card. A Standard Chartered credit card is the right card for money when you need it. For more information, please send an email to creditcards.ng@sc.com or call our call center on 01-270-4611 or toll free on 0800-123-5000. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. The biggest conversation stocks.
Welcome back. It's Everyday Money Matters on Lagos Talks 91.3 FM, and I have with me live in the studio, well, not live in the studio, but virtually though, Olumide Adeshina from Nairametrics joining us, and we have been taking a look at your questions coming through to us on different platforms. And of course, if you want to send in your questions, remember it is the WhatsApp line of the station 0809-234-5913. You're going to use to get to us 0809-234-5913. 5913. Use that to get to us. Let's get talking. All right. A new bank, Olumide, just raised $55 million and its valuation rose to $500 million, eclipsing many Nigerian banks by market value in the exchange. This person is asking, well, how accurate are these valuations?
Good question. Very interesting. You see, one of the things you need to understand about private valuation is that they often defy the accounting standards and financial standards. Some of us have been accustomed during our educational years, and you see, finance has changed. When I mean finance has changed, I mean finance is no more data. Finance has gone behavioral. The mindset, the psychology, the environment also play a role. So I'll give you a factor here. Now, a company necessarily might not be making money, might have zero profit, but the team might look so incredible. The growth, you look at how they've been attracting customers, you look at the intellectual capacity, you look at the environment it is, and all those things also play a role. So for that, I think one of the things you need to understand that one of the cutting edge about that private fintech company is that first, it seems kind of unique when you look at the fact that it's not a brick wall institution when compared to other traditional institutions. So the cost of doing all this, the cost of barriers will be definitely reduced. And the team, then the investors, you're talking about, if you look at the investors in that round, these are venture capitals of great standards, and I'm sure they looked at other valuations that might not be open to us. But basically, these are key. Private valuations are not usually data driven, unlike what you see on the stock market. You know, the stock market, you want to value a company, you just look at the number of shares by the closing price, and that's how you get the valuation of that company. But in private businesses, it's much more different.
Okay, so is it safe to say that sometimes these valuations might be colored?
Yeah, exactly. And we often see that when they usually go public. Like I don't want to mention some stocks. Some stocks had incredible valuation, but by the time they went to the stock market, they lost a third of that deal, because there are things many investors might not be interested in, that when they get to the stock market, they'll be interested. And there are some things that look interesting to private investors, but when it goes public, these investors will not see exciting. And one of the most important thing I tell many fintech startup founders, that always look at the profitability of the business alongside, because if you look at what's happening in the fintech space globally right now, most businesses that are not yet that have not broken even, in spite of the fact they have strong growth, are suffering seriously. And that's why now investors are becoming very, very cautious when it comes to. But see, the upsides are very incredible. Look at Robinhood, for example. Robinhood was Snoop Dogg and Nas. They invested in that trading app when at 20 cents. 20 cents when you had at that valuation. Now Robinhood is trading over $30. So imagine those guys are already smiling in the bank. So I think private equity has its own advantages too, but it comes with so much risk. You can't compare when you're going, because most of these companies go under. In fact, statistics show that more than 5% fail to go public or be acquired and things like that. So it comes with inherent risk too.
Oh, fantastic. All right, let's take a look at now some Bitcoin questions, right? This one is asking, do you see Bitcoin and Ethereum rising to $60,000 and $4,000 this year again? That's respectively Bitcoin $60,000 and Ethereum $4,000.
It's unlikely. It's unlikely, and my bias is basically because you need to look at the rationality behind hitting that price in April. Look at the speed and look at the momentum. yes, you might say Bitcoin has recovered some lost ground. The fact that it dropped to 29,000 price levels some weeks ago and rebounded close to 40, suggests that well, we still have about we still have some time to go before the year comes out. But we also need to look at the fact that the trading volume has weakened. The growing interest relatively wasn't like before. China is clamping down on record level. China is really dealing with miners. You need to understand that China plays a very major, an important role in the ecosystem. And now I think the banks in China and regulators have seen crypto assets as something to crush. Also, you need to also look at the fact that the regulation is also playing a strong role in limiting price. Because see, I watched the SEC chairman yesterday, and the man brilliant is understanding about the crypto market. I'm talking of the United States SEC chairman. He showed that they understand what these assets are, and he spoke about some things that are very interesting. He said that the fact that some assets already have securities properties. So it tells you that we have presently about 8,000 crypto assets and based on their definition of what we call an asset is securitized or is not securitized, it means that 3/4 will have to go through the Fed's chamber, and that tells you that many of them already have shady fundamentals. If you look at the staple coin market, for example, based on definition, a staple coin should be backed by a fiat or a credible paper, financial asset, but that's not often the narrative, and we see that these things are posing systemic problems. So the regulation that the bill that was passed, the bill that was initiated in the U.S. Congress some days ago, that tells you that there's going to be a lot of regulations in the coming months, and you can see that it's happening that with Binance already. Malaysia, United States, Toronto, Canada, Italy, Germany have already restricted businesses around that exchange, and Binance happens to be the world's most valuable, the world's biggest in terms of trading volume. So that also will weigh into the market. So I tell investors that, see, if you are a long term, if you have positions in these things and you've made a lot of money, I think you should reduce your position and allow others to run. For those that are coming to the market, I think you need to be very patient, because definitely a dark cloud is built in the air.
Okay. A quick question. Someone was asking when you mentioned Robinhood. Now, it said, a quick one, please. Is Robinhood stock a good one to buy right now?
It's interesting. Robinhood, yeah, it's if you look at the fundamental behind that stock, it's the most popular investment app among millennials. And one of the things that he broke the fact of Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and E-Trade was that he doesn't charge commission. So he became, and they offer much more interesting services like crypto and stuff like that. But you see, when he started, when he made his debut in the IPO when he went public, the first trading day he lost about 8 to 10%, but recently it has rebounded 24%. Well, I would say it's very expensive to say to go in and not to go in, because it just rebounded 24%, tells you that a lot of investors see this stock as showing more upside. But I think you should wait for pullbacks. If you can be very patient, yeah, the stock has good fundamentals, because the fact that it has it had crypto trading in its ecosystem, and also is looking at other business sectors, tells you that the stock might show pretty more upsides. But you see, the market seems to be tanking right now. The dollar liquidity is tightening, and the US Fed has said that it's not going to increase interest rate anytime soon. Body language suggests that that might deter, because if you look at other markets right now, apart from tech stocks, markets are consolidating, telling you that everybody's waiting for data to prove. So the US employment, job employment data coming out on Friday will show a guidance to, if the report tells you that the economy is strong, these stocks will go up, you understand? So, well, but if the US job employment report tells you that there's a weak employment role, then I think maybe you can position yourself. But I think on the long run, the stock has a lot of upsides, but the problem now is the price to get in. You know, if you had bought 3 days ago, man, you'll have cast in at least you'll have made about 300 basis points. So I don't know if you can take that risk for drawdowns, but the stock is good to play.
Okay. Finally, Olumide, before we go, this other question here says: is there any fundamental difference between FGM bonds and Euro bonds?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of fundamental difference, but the major ones. Let's talk about the major ones. The major one is that Euro bonds. When you listen to the Euro bonds, how you can just differentiate is that it's not domiciled in the country the issuer's currency. So, for example, the Euro bonds in Nigeria is domiciled in the US dollar. So that's the difference. The FGM bonds domiciled denominated in the Naira. Then you also look at the fact that Euro bonds, corporate companies can issue Euro bonds, government who can issue. FGM bonds is just issued by the federal government of Nigeria. That's why you see FGN. So just by the top tier government issues that second bond. Then the third one for currency risk. So the FGM bond doesn't carry any foreign currency risk because it's limited in local currency it's limited that currency of that jurisdiction. So, but for Euro bonds is it carries foreign currency risk. So, for example, if the dollar is stronger, but you need to factor that in. The dollar is weaker, but usually in emerging markets like Nigeria, the dollar is usually stronger. So the currency risk is usually on the issuer. So it's interesting, you know, to have such as investment because these are relatively safe, especially when you go through the government route or top corporate entities. So it's something you should look at, you know, and you can always have access to these things through investment banks, you know, regulated investment banks. We have so many out there. You can go in and subscribe.
Well, thank you, Olumide, for your kind thoughts on all these questions. Just to remind the listeners again that the Nairametrics Economic Roundtable is coming up this Saturday, 7th of August. It's 11 a.m. in the morning and it's going to end by 1 p.m. You have to register, however. You can go to the Nairametrics website to do your registration, or you can follow the bit.ly link. That's Nairametrics economic roundtable. That's Nairametrics economic roundtable. And you'll get to have access to a rich panelist that will be talking about how to navigate the economic waters. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Stock Select newsletter with ssn.nairametrics.com. Olumide, we'll see you next week, and you have a pleasant Wednesday ahead, okay? All right, that was Everyday Money Matters.